Colorado, Bill McPartlin, Jason Moskowitz, Elena Finnan, Eric Amberger, Beth Goldstein, Elizabeth Greenwood, Janet Wynn, Chief Koshin, Michelle Martinelli, Lori Peretti, Laura Robertson, Ray Smith, Matt Yetto. Okay. Thank you. All right, before moving on, we wish to respectfully acknowledge that Niskayuna is on the traditional lands of the Kanikihaka and the Mahikana peoples, past and present, and we honor with great gratitude the land itself and the peoples who have stewarded this land throughout generations. Okay. All right, moving on to Finance and General Governance Committee.
The resolutions we had for tonight were a resolution for the supervisor to sign a contract for a grant writer, a resolution regarding the preliminary budget to have that set, and a resolution regarding certain budgetary modifications for this month.
Thank you. Public Works Committee.
Number 4 is a resolution to authorize execution of an agreement with Schenectady County for the mowing of Grand Boulevard and the triangles at Union Street and Route 7. Elena has that contract for review. Any questions? Thank you.
Number 5 is a resolution appointing an engineering tech in our engineering office. They're looking for someone to fill this position or a junior engineering position for about 1.5 years now. And we've had a good interview and working out the details right now, but I think I'll have a name to give to the board.
Good news.
Yeah, it's long overdue. Number 6 is a resolution that's related to the public hearing from last month, having to do with moving certain properties from sewer 1 into sewer 6. It was pretty straightforward. It was just a correction from the late 1970s, so we're making that change. 7 is a resolution authorizing the purchase of, we had thought 3 trucks, but the mini bid that was opened yesterday came in much higher than we had expected, so we may be paring it back to possibly 2 trucks, working out the final details right now, trying to find out exactly what was included with the bid. Number 8 is a resolution appointing a water and sewer maintenance worker 2. It's a promotion for an existing water and sewer maintenance worker. Very happy with this individual. I'd like to keep his progress moving forward with his career with the town. 9 is a resolution regarding the second quarter of 2022 corporate utility reconciliation. Chris Lachinsky and Kathy Persons have worked on the information, and we're ready to move forward with that. 10 is a resolution authorizing the purchase of an organic waste transfer pump. It's a backup pump for an existing pump at the wastewater treatment plant, not to exceed $28,000 for that. Let's see here. 11 is an authorization for the purchase of a digestate transfer pump. Similar situation. We want to have redundant pumps available so that we don't have any issues with the continuation of operation of the wastewater treatment plant. So this is just purchasing one with money that we had in the budget for this. 12 is a resolution that would hire a contractor to install a bypass on the sewer pump stations that are located at the wastewater treatment plant. Once again, it's just added redundancy to the system. 13 is a resolution to award the general construction and instrumentation contract for our water treatment plant upgrade. We went out to bid again after having numbers that came in too high last time. They're much better this time. We had a bid opening today. Right now, it's looking around $400,000 for the contract. We're doing the checking of both bids that came in, and we'll have a recommendation for the board, and we'll be under budget. So that's an improvement from the last time, which we were quite a bit over budget. So we went back, changed some of the scope, pulled some of the work out, and did some of the work, and plan to do some of the work with town staff to save a lot of money. I have two additional items that were mentioned at finance. They are a resolution to award a contract to install drainage collection on Belmead Court. This would be used in conjunction with a auto flushing fire hydrant to help improve water quality and reduce labor needs for the town. And the next item would be a resolution to purchase that flushing hydrant. We had a resolution last month to buy two. I'd be asking to modify last month's resolution to add a third flushing hydrant. That's all I have. Any questions?
Just to remind me, the flushing hydrants, you mentioned to decrease staff issues, but
Yes.
ultimately it's to make sure the water on those streets.
Yeah, it's to improve water quality on the streets. Right now, they're manually flushed when needed.
Yeah.
And by having a hydrant that automatically flushes on its own during the middle of the night, it allows for better water quality and less time of our staff out there flushing. We have one already on Pierce Road, which has been there for about 10 years, and it works great. We have another one we just installed on Birchwood Road, Birchwood Drive, or Lane, I'm sorry. And then one is going on Holly Hill as well.
Great, thank you so much.
And also South of Fagan is another location. They're
That
working
was the
great, so we
resident
want to
that
keep using
came in
them.
last week.
Yeah.
Yes.
Matt, is this a trend we'll be seeing as we move forward?
Good question.
It's I think the majority of the initial locations will be addressed this year. Maybe a couple more I may want to do next year. Well, let's see and track and see how well they're working, and if there's any things that we want to change as far as our plan. But it does take a lot of time to go out and flush, and it's wasting water that if you can flush less more frequently, it's better for overall operation of the system.
Excellent. Okay,
Good.
thank you.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to community programs.
Number 14 is a resolution to hire substitute bus drivers to fill in when needed at the senior center, should there be an illness or a vacation. And 15 is a resolution to authorize acceptance of donations to fundraisers, one of which was one at Lions Park, and one was one of the Broken Inn for the senior center. Anybody have any questions?
No questions.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Economic Development, Historic Preservation, Environmental Conservation Committee.
So number 16 is a resolution to award a contract. It's actually two contracts for the Critical Pedestrian Connections Grant and the Upper Union Street Grant. That is hopefully on for the special meeting. And what we did is we have two grants that are happening. And they have some pretty tight timelines. So we combined them together to try and save on mobilization and engineering costs. And we bid the crossing at St. Joseph's, the crossing at Upper Union Street, and the Knott Street sidewalk, and the Plum sidewalk. This is probably not a shocker to anyone. The bids were really high. The supervisor and we looked at them for like a really long time, trying to leverage every single dollar that we could and not go over budget. So what we are proposing to do so that we can get as much done with the grant money as we can, substantially complete by the end of the year, hopefully, is that we're proposing to do the crossing at St. Joseph's, which is very critical to people. There's a lot of use for people in that neighborhood trying to get over to the Mohawk Hudson Bike Hike Trail. And to do Upper Union, unfortunately, it'll be a beautiful crosswalk. It'll be much safer because it'll have the push button and the lights and everything. We're unable to afford the median. So it's very slimmed down, but it's going to be safety improvements and it's going to be connections that we've been trying to make for a really long time. And we have now a shovel-ready project for if a grant's going to come in the future. And hopefully we'll be able to do Plum next year. So that's our plan. We worked really hard on it.
Yes, we did. Thank you so much, Laura.
And then did anybody have any questions on that one? Okay, it's in budget. We decided that was just the most important thing. And then a resolution to accept the location of a subdivision sign within the town's right of way. We talked about this at the Economic Development Committee meeting. I talked about it with Ray and Pete. They don't object to the location. It's the subdivision sign on the Kelts farm. So if you drive up and down River Road, you can see it right now. It wouldn't stay as a real estate sign. It would transition into a nice subdivision sign. There's a lot of good things that come from subdivision sign, like placemaking and a sense of community and neighborhood. The problem is it will require maintenance. So between now and maybe the meeting, if you guys have questions, we could talk about it. We might want to take some maintenance funds for it or do something because it will be a burden on the highway department in the end is if we accept its location as a public location. So, but it is I mean, you can actually see he's got little mums and stuff underneath it, and he used old reclaimed beams from the old Kelts Farm barn to build it. So it's quite lovely. But it will be maintenance. So that's the balance there for you guys to think about.
Okay, so Laura, you would recommend that we think about a maintenance fee prior to the resolution coming forward, or is this something that you and Ray are going to make recommendations to the board?
So the code definitely allows us to take money for maintenance, and I would think that we would want to do it before the board accepts the location. Yeah. Right, Elena?
We would.
Yeah.
Is there an HOA over in that subdivision?
There's not, no, because there really isn't any land held by an HOA. The townhomes will just be owned by the property owner, and then the remaining lands were deeded as conservation, never to be touched, to the town of Niskayuna. That was the whole Windsor Drive thing, that those lands can never be touched or developed. So they were dedicated to the town of Niskayuna as Forever Wild.
Thank you. And police and public safety.
Good evening, everyone. Number 18 is a resolution to award a contract for the upfitting of 2 police vehicles. We would like to continue having our vehicles upfitted through Specialized Vehicle Upfitting by Niskayuna Tire. It's a local vendor. We have used them now for many years. We have purchased software components, software in conjunction with computer components for our vehicles. I have the estimate that would be carried over to the new vehicles. I have the estimate for the 2 new vehicles that we received. Thank you to Janet Wynn for getting another mini bid out. We have the vehicles in our lot. They're just waiting to be upfitted. The total for the 2 vehicles would be approximately $16,595.54. That's actually a couple $100 less than what it cost per vehicle last year. In conjunction with that, I do have a letter if any of the town board members want to see it. We'd like to consider Specialized Vehicle Upfitting by Niskayuna Tire as a sole source supplier for our upfitting. And the reason is because they own the proprietary rights. It's a territory. And I have a letter from Jason Hamilton here. The closest other certified trained dealer is either in Buffalo, New York or Newark, New Jersey. So based on what we have already invested in as far as the upfitting of our vehicles and what we carry over and transfer through, this would be appropriate, and my recommendation would be to do that if anybody wants to see that letter. Does anybody have any questions about that? Okay. And I lost my paperwork. Number 19 is a resolution to authorize a surplus sale of a vehicle. We did recently receive the new 602. When we did the surplus last year of the vehicles, we didn't include it at that time. I think we had thought that we were possibly going to keep it, but we will not be. We would like to put that out to auction and get some of those monies back for the town. And does anybody have any questions about that? Okay, thank you.
Okay, so that is all we have for our agenda meeting tonight. At this time, I'll make a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We stand adjourned.
De-escalation training from the comptroller's office.
Good evening. I'm going to call the October 11th, 2022 special meeting of the Town Board to order. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Moskowitz.
Present.
Councilmember Delarada.
Here.
Councilmember McPartlin.
Here.
Councilmember Brennan.
Here.
Supervisor Puccioni.
Here. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Once again, we would like to respectfully acknowledge that Niskayuna is on the traditional lands of the Kanihikahaka and the Mahikanac peoples, past and present, and we honor with gratitude the land itself and the peoples who have stewarded this land throughout generations. Moving on to privilege of the floor. Okay, it looks like we do not have anyone here for privilege of the floor, so we'll move on to resolutions. Resolution number 2022-263, sponsored by Councilmember De La Rada. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution awarding a construction contract for the installation of certain pedestrian improvements in the town of Niskayuna.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Moskowitz.
Yes.
Councilmember Delarada.
Aye.
Councilmember McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilmember Brennan.
Yes.
Supervisor Puccioni.
Yes.
5 ayes.
The resolution passes. Resolution number 2022-264, sponsored by Councilmember De La Rada. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution authorizing a change order for engineering of certain pedestrian improvements in the town of Niskayuna.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion?
Supervisor, I just want to thank our town planner, Laura Robertson, as well as yourself for working on these and getting these improvements done, as well as securing the grants. It is quite a large sum of money, $125,250 in grant amounts. So that is a job well done. I know we couldn't get as much as we wanted to done with rising costs, but I think the final plan that was come up with is definitely going to make these places a safer and better place for residents. So thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember De La Rada. I would also like to thank our town planner for working with me on this. We worked really hard to get those grants and to award those contracts, so I appreciate your hard work always. Is there any other discussion? All right, seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Moskowitz.
Yes.
Councilmember Delarada.
Aye.
Councilmember McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilmember Brennan.
Yes.
Supervisor Puccioni.
Yes,
5 ayes.
the resolution passes. Resolution number 2022-265, sponsored by Supervisor Puccioni. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution calling for a public hearing on the preliminary budget.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those, almost stole your job there. Is there any discussion? Okay, seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Moskowitz.
Yes.
Councilmember Delarada.
Aye.
Councilmember McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilmember Brennan.
Yes.
Supervisor Puccioni.
Yes,
5 ayes.
the resolution passes. At this time, I'm moving into executive session pursuant to Public Officers Law, Section 105, Subdivisions 1D and 1F, to discuss proposed, pending, or current litigation, and to discuss the medical or employment history of a particular person. At the close of executive session, there will be no further town business conducted. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Thank you.